Welcome back to Let's Play Deathmark. I was about to say Digimon World Next Order then, getting it mixed up. It's been a week, I think, since the last God session. Yeah. And in that week, has my face healed up? Well, not entirely, no. It's still sore on the gums, and that side of my face still feels a bit sore in general. But worst of all, completely unrelated to, the disappointment I had because some stuff removed. I've had this for a little while now. Left ear, too much earwax. And you're probably like, well, that's too much information, do not go into detail. It's like, I've tried eardrops and all that, seeing the doctor twice, and now I've kind of been like, so probably, see a specialist to have it, removed manually, because, yeah. Well, it sucks, because, I just, got this kind of horrible kind of white noise in the left ear. It sucks. Anyways, it was the second save file, it was the good pen route, right? I think. Mary isn't here anymore. Should I rest for the day? I decide to rest now. Chapter 4 Miss New ends. It's been nearly a day since we found Mary. Well, it's only been that long. We're like a boat adrift on the ocean without a compass to guide us. Who knows where the currents will take us? Will we find salvation at the end? Hey, Miss Yashiki. While it's still fresh in my memory, it's just looking for the Deathmark wiki to, check the characters' extended bios. And by that I mean, their height and age. So Hiroo is apparently 28 years old. And what surprises me, because it doesn't really feel like it shows the height difference of these characters properly. And there's one thing even more confusing than that now, yeah, to a second. She's apparently 5'1", so she's really short. Yashiki, meanwhile, his age isn't specified, but it's specified at most to be between the age of 35 and 45. And he's about 5'10" or 5'11". And the third game in the series, that's still upcoming, it's got some promotional CG for it, and there's a promotional CG of her and Yashiki standing next to each other, and the height difference isn't noticeable at all. It's like, guys, do you remember that you had her listed as 5'1"? She should be shorter than that in the CG. Anyways, looks like we wasted the whole day. It's gonna be like this every day. You're done checking in here, why don't we go take a look outside? Mary said unnecessary contact with outsiders can speed up the marks curves. If I lose any more of my memories, I'm not sure I'll be able to function. For the past 10 days, the only other person I've spoken to is convenience store. That explains why we've only had few dinners and snack food. Sitting and waiting isn't gonna do accomplish anything. I'd rather not wind up forgetting my own name. Not that I completely believe that this curse thing's real. She raised her voice to hide how it shakes. She's still stubbornly sticking to her denial of the existence of spirits in the mark, but I know she's already accepted it. After all, she went through it herself last night. Well, she only went through part of it, really. She didn't even get to see Miss Sue. Ghosts and curses don't exist. Why this happened to me? Hiroo is startled at a sudden knock and, just a slight bit of voice acting. Very brief. Visitor in the middle of the night. I don't need Mary to know it's a marker. Sorry to impose on you, soldiers. A tall, thin man walks in. You know? While on the... Actually, I forget what his age is. It's like I was gonna be like, oh yeah, his age. I think he's either in his 40s or early 50s. I think in his 40s somewhere. But I think he's the tallest character. I mean, they don't really show the height difference in these images, do they? The character ones doesn't really show it. And when they appear in the CGs, I mean, there's not many CGs with real characters. It doesn't feel like it really shows their height properly. But he's apparently 6 foot tall, so he's the tallest out of the cast. Wolfin man walks in. His skin is as white as a sheet and dark circles move below his eyes. It's almost like a dead person's Santa Claus. Your Yashiki and Hiroo arrives. I heard about you in the mark from Yasuoka. Something about him is too. Sounds like you had a rough night. He seems to know Yasuoka. Maybe she's following through on her promise and sent him to help us. Well, let's get introductions. I'm Shuuji Daimon. I think you can guess my occupation. When this thing means I don't have to explain. Thanks. He gestures to the stethoscope around his neck. He's like, yeah, but what type of doctor are you? Are you like a general doctor? Are you a surgeon? I mean, what is your occupation in the hospital, doctor? He gestures to the stethoscope again. What kind of business brings a doctor like you? Daimon's eyes flicker over at the suspicion in Hiroo's tone. I mean, the height difference between those two would be quite significant, because it's almost an entire foot. No need to be so defensive. I have the pure scar symmetry. He unbuttons his shirt to reveal a familiar mark on the left side of his chest. Just suddenly appeared one day. Let's be honest, I never thought it happened. Maybe it's punishment for being stupid and curious. Curious. You know about the mark before Yasuoka told you about it. Yeah, that's right. There's mentions of a strange scar that those records of military physician. I need some personal research. The military physician's records would mean they'd be from the Second World War, maybe 50 years ago. It's like, no, actually it's from World War One. Actually, was Japan even involved in World War One? I felt like World War One was a lot more, centered around Europe. I mean, World War Two was as well, but, World War Two kind of like expanded a little more. It's weird saying that difference. But you had like the Pacific War going on, Japan, the US. I mean, there probably were. Yeah. World War One feels like it's kind of overshadowed by World War Two when it comes to, people talking about it. It's like, before World War Two, World War One kind of seen as the Great War. Not as in great as in, oh, it was fantastic time. No, the great as in it was a great tragedy and horrible hit that should never be repeated. Then do like fucking World War Two happened, and that kind of overshadowed World War One. I feel like nobody, as people talk about World War One as World War Two, essentially. But I don't know what overall countries were involved in World War One. But it was, mostly Europeans, from what I can recall. I don't know, maybe there were other countries involved in that. More than 50 years ago. That doesn't add up. Rumors of the mark only started about a month ago. It was mentioned in those records the rumors would be much older. There's a reason for that. Patients with the symptoms were kept in a secret pocket. After the war, all top secret documents leaked to that, except the clinical records I found. This kind of reminds me of a bit Higurashi. It's like, if you've, seen my Let's Play of the Higurashi series or read sound novels, visual novels yourself, or, you know, I'm not sure how well the anime adaptation explains, because it's been years since I watched it. And there's like kind of a one that was recently done. I assume they went over it. I don't know, I didn't watch it, obviously. That's why I don't know what exactly it was. But I assume they did like a more modern kind of adaptation of the Higurashi series. I assume they followed the main novels, so maybe... I'm not sure if they'd explain the part that I'm referencing here, the backstory, or whatever. Super lab. That's kind of hard to read. At the time, you don't mean to say Mars produces some sort of biological weapon. Now we're going into Resident Evil territory. Well, to be fair, you know, it also kind of says it's like, how? It's like, well, I'm not going to explain because it is spoiling Higurashi. Every country had at least 1 or 2 soldiers who would define me as people only call on gods when they're evil. It's the end of the war. And they were back in a court. How unsettling to me. Don't you think so, Mr. Yashiki? I don't know, yes. I guess so. You seem pretty calm. It may be your cautiousness is what has kept you alive. However, it's hard to picture the mark being used as well. It seems the 13th Army engineer is defending something. It was called the Cannon Soldier. Cannon Soldier. That makes me think of the... this is the cannon. I can't pronounce. 50 years ago. But a statues. Can't be. It's all connected. Dr. Daimon, where is that lab? Unfortunately, I have no idea, sorry. The documents my grandfather kept don't give any details about it. Hey, Mr. Yashiki, that 13th Army engineer. It's a shelter the cow went to. She pulls out her old map. I'm one to keep it secret. First, I'd rather not die from this mark up there. But last time you were all like, you know, you didn't even care if you died. It's just like, life is just to fulfill your curiosity. Let me just sit properly. I was kind of leaning back there, like I'm in a reclining chair or something. It just makes, I know, the sitting position kind of, you know, if it's altered, it feels like your voice is kind of different than trying to voice acts. This shows the entrance to the 13th Army engineer. Whoa, are you serious? In his excitement, he starts coughing. My apologies. When did you get that here? Wait, how's it? Well, I suppose Yasuoka told him about Yashiki and Hiroo, because I don't think they introduced themselves there. My grandfather passed 6 months ago. He started his bloggings. And the idea of a secret lab was fascinating, so I thought I'd look into it. Miss Sue's cow stories. I still let it slip to her. She loves strange experiences like that, so probably gets stuck. I thought as much though. Whatever turned her into a monster is down in that secret lab. It's a pretty unscientific line of reasoning. Using the occult to turn yourself into a monster is utter nonsense. But if there's a scientific method behind it, I can consider. I suppose that's just how she is. Notice how this is basically like, remember back to the previous chapter, like right at the start, when we go into that shelter. I mean, it's kind of obvious this is what they're talking about here, and how I made the comments like, "Wow, do you think it's like a secret lab down here?" Turns out she was kind of right. Her grandfather involved with the lab in some way. Could have been. All I know is he was an engineer with the rank of captain. Wait, hold on. You're both grandchildren of people involved with the engineering. And now you both have the mark. Yes, utterly correct. That and our laptops are probably all Hiroo and I have in common. Ain't not wrong with that. It feels like two very different characters. They got completely different personalities. From what we understand, people with the mark of the agency with that years. There might be something here that'll help us find the truth behind the ghost. It's also the origin of the canon surgeon. A thing that reminds me of a statue. Traces of Yasuoka shelter might all be connected to the Buddha statues at the Soul Creek Shrine. Daimon gave us a lot of info. We'll have to thank Yasuoka for introducing him to us. The fates are indeed mysterious. Dr. Daimon, will you help us? Yes, of course. Just don't expect anything physical. Are you sick? You don't look so well. Yes, something like this. I don't practice what I preach. His dry laugh sounds like he's deflecting. He's abnormally thin for a man's age. It's possible that he's gravely ill. So we're heading to the shelter. About that, we were stopped from going further by a lockdown. That strange old man was there too. I doubt he'll cooperate with us though. It'll be difficult to break in from there. Where did you enter the shelter? Manhole on K. Miyamachi North. I see. She opens the map and studies it. You're right, an entrance is there. There seems to be one island. It's at now South Alley. Try going there. No, not yet. Then let's go there. Hopefully we can get here. New info! Let's just confirm this is the correct... Let's confirm this is the correct save file here. Survived aftermath. Survived. So, yeah, we're on the good end route here. Shuuji Daimon decided to become a doctor because of his army physician grandfather. He currently works at a clinic in H City. His reputation suffers due to his dry bedside manner, but he's very skilled. You say his health is failing too. Would that count as ironic for a doctor to be gravely ill while doing the work? Just like, how much self-confidence in you, doctor, when you look like you're knocking on heaven's door? Yep. Usually it'd be like, when you introduce a new character, you go with them immediately after, but sometimes it feels more fitting to take her with us the first visit because she's the one that has the map. So like when after we go for the bad ends, chapter 5 is the final chapter of the main story. Chapter 6 is kind of a bonus chapter of sorts that was originally DLC for the original Japanese release, but when it got localized, got international release, it was just added into the main game, so it wasn't DLC at that point, but you get the idea. And the only way to get to chapter 6 is to get the good ending, because the good ending is the true ending, and it takes place after the ending, essentially. So basically, the bad end of this chapter is the bad end to the main game, essentially. So when I get around to that, I will, change things up by going through scenes differently and stuff. Oh yeah, I should probably look at that as well while I'm at it. Yasuoka sent a new mark by Daimon to the mansion. He talks about a mysterious being called the Cannon Soldier. From Glenpool records during World War II. These documents also mention a scar similar to the mark. Everyone who had it worked in the specific army research facility. They were developing the Cannon Soldier there at the end of the war. I don't really know what the kind of soldier is, but if everyone involved in the research got the mark, then I can't help but think they were trying to make a spirit into a weapon. But why would Daimon, grandson of a researcher, and Hiroo, granddaughter of a lab engineer, seem to get the mark now? Did the soldier's curse spread to descendants or something? It's like, I will curse you and all your descendants for what you have done. Classic, well, I mean, it would be a little bit of a horror trope, but that's more like a kind of witch thing, really, isn't it? And then there's that 13th Army Engineering Lab. Hiroo agrees to tell us more about it. Roadmap is of that lab, the same underground shelter we broke into earlier. The key to Izukawa's transformation on the stolen statues is likely there. So we'll have to go back again. The map shows another entrance on Now South Alley. Let's try looking around there this time. And we've got no tools. Mary isn't here at all. But I always gotta do that. We reach Now South Alley. It's about to be Schauf then. This is like, what? Like the North Road, it sounds empty. Map doesn't specify a location of the entrance, just that it's here. We'll have to search it. There are traces of the name of the store up by the roof. Looks like it's closed now. Even though this is a residential area, the street is completely deserted. Nothing else? I mean, other than the obvious way we're supposed to go. There's a manhole. Unlike Miyamachi, this road only has one. I'm sure this is the place. The manhole lid has a place to grip it, just like the one at Miyamachi. This has to be it. Still, it's strange. Why doesn't the public have any idea about this underground shelter? You'd think the sewer department would. How the hell should I know? It's probably hushed up so those involved didn't get in trouble. I suppose we'll perform some terrible experiments in there after all. She sounds kind of excited. I bet the terrible experiments fascinate her. She's into the morbid shit like that, but any sign of paranormal and she freaks the fuck out. When I lift the lid, a musty smell greets me. Smells familiar. Like the other entrance, the hole goes deep. Thankfully, there's a ladder here too. Alright, time to go down. Go ahead, Miss Yashiki. Hiroo and I descend into the dark world hidden beneath H.C. Yeah, that feels weird, isn't it? In this chapter, we're introduced to Daimon, a kind of sickly looking doctor. And just be like, why would you bring him along? It's like, you're in an underground shelter. God knows, like, what the atmosphere must be like down there. He'd probably be like, oh yeah, this is making me really feel like I'm just gonna pass out. What awaits us down in that darkness? Will we find the truth we're seeking? Find out. Now, I guess. Or a hell smeared with blood. Chapter 5, Cannon Soldier. Okay, used to that music in the background. We're gonna be hearing it throughout this area. Sight that greets us at the bottom is the same as what we saw at Miyamachi. Again, going back to Manly Badass Heroes Let's Play, I think I saw a comment on one of his videos in this section pointing out what the name of the song is that's played over the background. It seems like it's maybe it was World War II. This would make sense. Basically a Japanese propaganda song of sorts. I think it was propaganda, I'm not sure. Can't remember what the comment said it was. It's like the creatures at the bottom is the same as what we saw at Kamiamachi. The looming concrete walls and suffocating stagnant air. We weren't wrong to assume that the two places are connected. So this is the engineering lab. It's even more dreary than I expected. Wait, you hear a song? It's not some kind of prank. Maybe the spirits of the soldiers are wandering around and singing. Yeah, they wander around and singing, but are they also playing You have no proof of that. It's just entirely unscientific. Shut up about that crap. Sorry. Still, it's a little unsettling to hear an army song all the way down here. It's got to be a supernatural phenomenon. Oh, you know, they just got some record player or something like that. Blood stain. Well, I guess we are seeing blood then. There's an area within the stain that is lighter gold than the rest. I run my fingers over it and realize there's something stuck to the floor. Keep scratching at it until it starts to crease and I manage to pull it off the floor. This makes me think of the sequel, NG. The protagonist in that can kind of see how events played out by touching blood. So you'll get like a flashback to what happened, you know, what caused this blood to appear, essentially. Because he has this ability. But, of course, Yashiki does not have that. He's scratching it until it starts creasing and I manage to pull it up off the floor. And a one-up talisman, of course, yes. Soul power. Yeah, Baroness Strands, this place is a big-ass place. Easy to get lost. Here we got a door. That looks like it's blood as well. There are pitch black stains. It's just blood. What? Impossible. This much blood would be. Doesn't that other thing bother you too? Dumb idiot, of course I know this. Let's talk about any stains. Looks like something was posted here. There's clearly defined clean space on the wall. Some something has been there. Looks like it avoided being sprayed with blood because something was originally posted here. Poster or building, something like that. Well, it's illegible now. I have my eyes wide and stare at the white space that might have been posted. I end up drying out my eyes. Stain seems to be old blood. Crackles and breaks off into flakes when I run my fingers. It's a thick iron door. Keyhole isn't rusted. I could open it if I had to. Which we don't. This light looks like an emergency light. This place is abandoned. Has the power generator been running for all these years? 50 years, man. That's a long time for it to be running. Trail of blood leads to the ladder at the entrance. There's someone trying to escape. Really sets the atmosphere as well. There's no real point in looking at these right now. There is a way that we will get to see what they actually say, but can't really do it right now. Now this is the point where it's like, oh god, there's multiple turnings and shit. Something flows swiftly down the pipes. Hello, ghosts. Maybe it's a different area that's slammed. Look at this place, it's bloody huge. Oh my god, is there another one of these kind of areas? There's one. You can look away and see something floating. It's right, and as I hold the edge, somehow I managed to grab it. Another worn out talisman. Soul power. We're getting a lot of soul power in this chapter. Dried blood has blackened on the floor. There's quite a lot. Whoever left it probably died. No shit. with that. I feel like there was some paranormal happenings there that I might have missed. And by missed, I mean maybe I didn't flash the flashlight properly. Dead end. Yeah. It does look like there's only a wall ahead of us. Please. I think a trap coming from in front of us. All that's there is a wall. How peculiar. Oh, more dead ends. Nothing to examine. It's like, yeah, it's just a blood, it's blood puddle. Nothing to see here, folks. At least in these rooms, we don't have to hear that song over and over. The air in this room is musty. At first glance, I'd say it's part of the medical scene. This is operating room. Smell. Did it say table? Yeah, room. I got it right. I thought it said table as I said room. Ah, thought so. There it is. Shine a light over there for a second. Shine the flashlight as directions and find a corpse. Hiroo crouches down and begins to study it. Usually Hiroo would be terrified, but let's now it's fine. So you're finding stuff like that. But we all have organs and bones inside us, don't we? Only the few scattered. Hiroo skillfully examines the body. And they're done, they stand up again. To be blunt, the corpse is off. The prisoner draws the eyes aside, the cervical vertebrae are severed. That cut isn't normal. It's like it's notched. The only thing I can think of is that it was cut with a non-surgical. I have no idea why anyone would do something that cruel. In any case, it's clear that the head was purposely severed. The head was severed with a tool. It's like we're doing a crime scene investigation here. Doctor's too old to tell everything. Should be a clue nearby. Yeah, I think best to search the room. Yeah, good idea. It's like, not that like we do that with every room we go to. God damn it, I hate when I miss the ghost. I just hear the sound, I miss the ghost feeling. Looks like it's been a number of years since this person died. Dried skin gives the appearance of a mummy. But my neck is jagged, it must have been cut with some kind of tool. How would it still have any skin left after 50 years? Was the underground shelter preserved it that way? Not exposed to the elements down there, I guess. Nothing inside the middle cabinet. Looks like there's some units. I opened it and searched inside. Find a notebook titled Research Records and a small gun. Notes have deteriorated, but I can just make out what they say. 70th next experiment was a statue, connect male body and female head, success. Then natural phenomena, that body says supernatural. Spirit frequent, hard, continuing experiments. Well, are you starting to see what Miss Zhu must have potentially have come across? She was obsessed with Azora. That's all it says. Well, research records too, one palm pistol. Notes on experiments, huh? You better give it a read. I just did. It's a well-built metal cabinet. Whatever inside should be intact. I open the door, a cloud of dust flies up and blocks my vision. A notebook with a black cover is left inside. An experimental unit correspondence code. Experimental unit correspondence code. It seems to be talking about cryptograms. Inside it says Canon. Weapons code name. Dash dash. Heavenly Buddha Project's code name. Dash dash dot. Soul, human's head used as materials. Dash dash. This is very important, by the way. Looks like a weapon code. It's similar to Morse. Guess you know your stuff, Mr. Yashiki. Interesting, isn't it, that we've got a pistol in this chapter? It's like all the other chapters, we don't really have, weapons, really. I mean, we did in the previous chapter, but now we're going with long range. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to remember. I'm crap at remembering things. No, when I get to it, I'll check it. Which might be not too far from here, honestly. Big iron door, the keyhole is rusted, I could open it. I think this is gonna lead to the area where I need that information. I think. I'm not sure. Okay, let's just think of this. Ignore how it would sound and more how it looks. You know? And hopefully I remember at least a little bit of it. Unless I'm screwed. I'm going the wrong way. This place is so damn confusing. When I step in view of an iron door that appears before me, the air changes. Here we go. Goosebumps rise. A presence is approaching. There's an incessant beeping from telegraph. I forget what we do here. Freeze in place. I think you probably get game over and try to go forward without stopping. It will die. It becomes gradually louder, almost as if it's trying to tell me something. It is trying to tell me something. Oh yeah, it's what it corresponds to. That was the head, wasn't it? The head experience. Sequence. Dash dot dash. It keeps repeating. Let's go. What does it mean? It was soul. I hear a quiet voice. Point to your soul. Do we actually have the information on that? But it's actually the heads in this case. The soul is in the brain. The beeping suddenly stops. What's that? Hiroo seems terrified. You're okay. Yeah, I'm fine, obviously. As you can tell. She's acting different than usual. Let's go, I think it's fine now. Understood. She's a bit freaked out by that, but who wouldn't be? Pretty creepy stuff. Set up the same way as that operating room. This place may have been used for the same experiments. Might be records left behind. Let's look. Is that a bloody chainsaw? Looks like it's been a number of years since this person died. The dried skin gives the appearance of a mummy. Yet by the neck it is jagged. Must have been cut with some kind of tool. Hiroo couldn't be bothered to check on it though. Open the wire mesh door and peek inside, but I don't see anything. Go to close the door and get in. I see a paper stuck to the backside. More soul power, old soul powers. Some of the doors are open, but most are locked. Search the ones that are open. Find a notebook titled Research Records and an army short sword. There's a notebook of faded, but I can still read it. Experiment miraculously succeeded. This divine protection. The Azura statue. From H Shrine created by Lion statue makers. Using chisel donated by same family. Sever head. Two together becomes the key. Find the obvious wish. There's nothing else with me. Art research records 1 projectiles short sword. Chisel, like for sculpting? Yeah, it's impossible. How could they do something like that? That's just impossible. Looks like something inside. Open it and search around. I find belts attached to a handle and a notebook with a black cover. It's titled Disposal Vats MGMT Records. I flip the cover open. Dispose 200 super dimension suddenly iron door as spiritualized. Hypothesis focus mystical forces need sacred object to erase. Safety valve release code diamond. There's nothing else written. Not Kagura Suzubel, disposal that MGMT. What in the world are these notes going on about? Supposed to have spiritualization? I don't understand half these words. Plus those bells I found don't fit this place at all. I closed the notebook and put it in the bag. Just then something tangles around my hand. Up. It's a thin thread. It seems to be human hair. It glitters pale gold and light. What? The mark starts sucking at my blood. I ignore it and instead stare at the shining hair as if being pulled in. It's odd, but I get the real feeling that this focus belongs here, this place. I've been here before. The mark Skriala grows words. Earlier experience did their death. Someone mumbled strangely right next to me. But that's not someone else. That's my own voice. Yep. As I thought. The words pour out from deep inside. I've absolutely no knowledge or control over them. Memories that aren't mine. The words and feelings I can possibly know are falling from my lips. Objective spoken words. Must be behind that wall. Feels weird and static. Wait, Mr. Kazuha, what are you talking about? The instant Hiroo speaks, the voice stops. Mr. Kazuha? What is his first... I mean, it's not his real name. It's his, temporary name or whatever. It's his name while he, can't remember his original name. Would Kazuo be his first name though? I can't remember. If it is, that's, a bit unique of you to refer by first name there. The instant Hero speaks, his voice stops. It's nothing. I just remembered something important. You sure you're okay? You were mumbling some strange things. I'm fine, really. Just spaced out for a bit. For better or worse, Hero didn't clearly hear what I was saying. Still, though, that voice could be that my old self that when I lost along with my memories was talking to me. The feeling I got when I saw that golden hair, maybe that's what triggered it. I haven't heard that other guiding voice for a while. I guess all I can do is rely on my old self. Dispose of that behind the wall. That voice said to find out new info. The light bulb is flickering weakly. And with that, that'll do for this part. I will record the next part immediately after, of course. As I, do 2 recordings in 1 record session. So, see you next time, viewers. See you next time.